Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm making a short and a shirt, just taking through the whole measuring process, the pattern drafting process, and also step by step of making the video itself. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas celebration with your friends, families. I hope we accomplish and smash goals this year, and I wish you the best that life has to offer this year. Just good things, and love and peace and light all through this year in the name of Jesus. Amen. So our measurements we'll be using for today, which is my measurements. Shoulder is 15. The bust, that's round bust, is about 36. The round waist altogether is 30. And the round sleeve is I'll be using, you just have to take your tape around, is 14. Then the sleeve length will be divided into two because the sleeve is divided into two. That's the flare and the normal sleeve, which is length after the 16. Then the other part is 8. So after that, I'll be taking my shorts measurement, and for my shorts measurement, my length, my short length is 17, crotch is 10, waist is 30, hip is 40, thigh is 20, and we added 1.5 for the band also. So let's get right into the video. So first thing we're taking 10 inches for the crotch. And how did I get this? I typically divided my hip into 4, which is 10. My hip divided into 4 is 10. So I'm marking 10 inches round. I'm making this square shape round my pattern paper. This is like a start point, or you can call this the 4 square. Like P square, 4 square. You can call this the 4 square. So this is like the major thing here, and I'll be going out from my 4 square by 2 inches. This will be the crotch line, because this is where the curve starts from. And also from there, I'll be taking in my full length, which is 17, and marking that in there. Basically just taking in the correct measurement in there and just marking it through. And after that, I'll be going in by 1 inches from where my hip point will be, and measuring my thigh measurement. My thigh measurement is about 20. I'll divide 20 into 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. I'm marking that, making a straight line to my crotch, and also making a straight line to my crotch line. I was actually supposed to make the straight line to my hip line. I just skipped that part and I forgot. So I'm marking my hip line, which is about 8 inches, and marking a straight line to connect those lines together. And this would also be 2 inches for to remove the puffiness. So I'm going in by half an inch and marking that to the stopping at my hip line, which is 2 inches upwards from my crotch line. And I'll be taking in my waist measurement. My waist measurement is about 7.5. That's my waist divided by 4 is about 7.5. Now we'll just be connecting the lines smoothly to which is supposed to be my hip line, but I skipped that part. I forgot to make that part. So I'll be taking in my 4 inches for my back dart, just marking it, just identify that this is the dart. And from there, I'll just be making the crotch curve. Please understand that I didn't make the curve too deep. So for my front waist, I'll going low by 1 inches and making a smooth curve to connect that together. And I'll be dividing my hip line into 2. I'll just be dividing into 2. This would be useful for the back. I'll be closing this line, or this slash and spread thing, this slash and spread situation happening here. I'll be closing it back later on. So I'll be dividing it into 2 and marking 1.5 inches to actually give my back pattern a balance, so it won't be like too short or it won't be weird in any form. So I'm marking 1.5 inches on the spread and just tipping that in to secure the front pattern together. Also marking in the dart and going out by 1 inches from that part, from the waist part to the crotch, by going out by 1 inches and going out from the thigh part by 2 inches. It's very important to go out by 2 inches to actually secure the whole process and the whole, just for the balancing. Obviously you have to go in doing that by 2 inches and just rolling it in, rolling it in and just connecting the lines together and making the curve for my my crotch, back crotch, and also connecting the line for the thigh, which is extra 2 inches from my back crotch basically. So from there I'm making the whole line, just connecting the whole line and doing everything I did for the front pattern to the back pattern. That's what we're doing here, just connecting the whole lines I've done for the front pattern, doing the same thing to the back pattern too, and connecting the lines together, and also marking my dart and cutting my pattern out, my back pattern out basically. So I'll be taping back my front pattern, then I'll be going lower by 4 inches, or let me say 3.5 inches, and marking that, taking half an inch on both sides for my back dart. Note I'm only taking in that for my back pattern, which is that extra added 1 inches I added from the waist. So I'll be marking that in there, just connecting the lines together, then I'll be drawing my waist. This is for the band for my front and my back pattern, basically drawing my waist and going below that by 1.5 inches. I'll basically be doing the same thing for my back and also doing the same thing for my front pattern too. Doing the same for my back and my front pattern, basically going by 1.5 inches low and just marking the lines together and connecting it with this. It's actually going to be a curved line, connecting with a smooth curve basically. So naming that this is my front, and also I'll be doing for making the pattern for the back. For the back I'll be closing the dart for the back before I'll be drawing the band for the back. Reason because I'll be adding the band after I actually join my darts together, so I need that exact shape without my darts being there, with my closed dart. So I'll be basically drawing that in there, and also taking 1.5 inches low, because that's my dart, my band, sorry, that's my band measurement, 1.5 inches. So basically taking that in there and connecting the smooth curve together. This pattern is actually easy, just a bit long because they're different things combined, and I tried to break everything down. So making a shirt pattern, just the basic bodice pattern, going inside by, it's supposed to be 3 inches, but I went in by 2 inches, but going inside by 3 inches and marking that in, making a straight line to roll that in, basically just rolling it in basically. Then after that, from the 3 inches in which we roll, I'll be starting my neck midpoints, my neck points from there, which is 3 inches, basic neckline, 3 inches on both sides. Then also taking in my 7.5 inches for my shoulder and going below that by 1.5 inches, and going from there 7.5 inches for my armhole measurement. And how to get your armhole measurement is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. I would actually be linking my basic bodice pattern up there for you to have more understanding of this pattern. So for my armhole line, I'll be going upwards by 2 inches, and from there I'll be going inwards by 0.75 inches, and also making a smooth slant line and connecting my shoulder together to the curve, connecting my shoulder to, and marking in my waist measurement. The waist I'll be using for this pattern is about is 15 inches. I'll be marking that in there, and from there also I'll be taking in my waist measurement. My waist measurement is about 7.5, but I'll be adding I'll be adding half an inch for ease around my waist. Marking in my bust. My bust is about 9.25. Sorry, yeah, 9.25. I'll be marking that in, and I'll be connecting that to my. I'll be adding in the half an inch. I just said that already, and I'll be marking that, making a smooth line to my bust. And for my bust, I'll be connecting my bust to the length, my desired top or shirt length, basically. So I'll be connecting my neck together, my neck width together, just making a smooth curve, and we're done with, basically almost done. And I'm connecting the buttonhole line and making my armhole curve, and voila, we're done with the center front shirt pattern. Is that easy? It is that easy. Next thing I'll be doing is taking in my shoulder measurement for my back pattern. Basically, I'll be cutting my back pattern on fold, so I don't need to take zip allowance or so or thereabouts. So I'll be going below my shoulder measurement by half an inch and marking the same measurement I took for the front center front pattern. I took 7.5 inches, but for the back I'll be taking 8 inches to make the armhole balance with the front pattern, and marking that all in. So from there I'll be making a straight line for my armhole. Make sure your lines are straight at all times. I've actually always said this, I'll keep saying it, and also connecting my lines together. So from there I'll be taking in my waist measurement, just marking that in there, taking and connecting my waist measurement line together. So I'll be extending my armhole line for the bust measurement, because it's obviously important for the bust measurement. I'll be dividing my armhole into two and marking the midpoints. Then from the midpoint I'll be going in by 0.5 inches. Remember that I went in by 0.75 inches for the front pattern, but for the back pattern I'll be going in by 0.5 inches, and I'll be taking in my bust measurement, which is 9.25. I'll be marking that in, and I'll be drawing the curve. Note that the curve for the back pattern is not as deep as the curve for the front pattern, because it doesn't need to be deep, simply because of the bust in the front pattern makes the curve be deep. So I'll be taking 8 inches for the waist. My waist measurement is 7.5, but half an inch for ease, and rolling that to my end point, to the end point of my shirt, and also curving my neckline, which is 1 inches, 3 to 1 inches, 3 inches for depth. So next thing I'll be doing is dividing my collar measurement into two, and I'll be using cm instead of inches for this. My collar measurement into two in cm is about 19 cm, so I'll be marking 19 cm round, just marking it in, making it like a rectangle shape for that. And I'll be marking 2.5 cm, making a straight line with 2.5 cm as my collar stand start point. Basically, just marking it in there and making a smooth straight line to connecting my lines together. Then from there I'll be going inwards by 1.5 cm and just marking that in and looking for the midpoint of my collar stand, and I'll be marking that also in and connecting a smooth curve to the midpoint. Then from there I'll also be measuring the 2.5 cm I took there and making sure everything is equal. That means just like returning back what I took out. Just basically that's what I'll be doing, returning back what I took out and marking that also and connecting it also with a smooth curve. It's always important. Always make sure you actually draw your curve smoothly or draw your straight line smoothly. From there I'll be going outward by 1 inches, note 1 inches, not 1 cm, and this will be like for the extended buttonhole in the collar stand, and I'll be connecting and I'll be drawing a curve smoothly and connecting that together, and I'll be naming that 0 and that 1, and that 2 and 3, basically 1 2 3, and going upwards for my 0 point by 5.5 cm. This will be the collar fall start point, and making a straight line to connect that together, and marking the midpoint also, and basically imitating or drawing the same kind of curve I drew for my collar stand. I'll be imitating the same thing for my collar fall, and I'll name it that fall. For my collar fall upwards, I'm going upwards by 4.5 cm and marking that round, marking 4.5 cm round, basically marking that round from my start point, not from the curve I made. So I'm marking that round and connecting my lines together. So I'll be naming that what 5 and 6. So from there I'll be going upwards by 1 cm and marking the midpoint, and also going outward from there by also 1 cm. So actually if I want my collar point to be a bit pointy, I can go more than 1 point. You can really go more than 1.1 cm, but I went 1 cm instead. And basically we are done with our collar stand and fall. It's very easy. So I'm drawing my sleeve pattern. I'll be linking my sleeve basic sleeve pattern up there for you to see and watch for better understanding. I'll be making marking the midpoints, just the midpoints, any midpoints basically, and going below by what, marking my cap. My cap is about 5 inches, and making a straight line to connect that together. Connect that together, and I'll be taking in my sleeve width measurements and marking it divided into 2 and marking that in there. And from there I'll be making a triangle to connect my sleeve length, my sleeve width together to the top of my cap, making a triangle. So I'll be dividing my half triangle into 2 and marking the midpoint, and also dividing the second one into 2, basically doing the same thing I did for the first one to the second one, and dividing into 2 and marking also the midpoints. Also be dividing my half triangle that I've marked into 2 again. So basically I would have 4 faces in each triangle, so 4 on this side and 4 on the other side, which makes it about 8 faces together altogether. I'm marking that in there, and also marking the other parts, the midpoints of that, marking it in there. So I'm going upwards for the back side of my pattern by 1 cm and going below also by 1 cm. And for my front sleeve pattern, I'll be going upwards by 1.2 cm and going below by 2 cm, and now connecting the lines together. I'll be connecting from the 1.2 cm to the midpoint that I marked first, and now connecting it to the 2 cm I marked already, and connecting that to my round sleeve measurements basically. I'll be also doing the same thing for the back sleeve measurement, connecting that to the sleeve start sleeve points, the midpoint, and connecting the remaining parts in there, basically connecting that in there, and I'm done with the sleeve. This is like the main thing for the sleeve. I'll be taking in my measurement for my sleeve, lower sleeve width, and marking that in there, and just connecting it with a smooth slant line. Basically we're done with our half sleeve. This is all sleeve drawing. Making the sleeve is extremely easy, nothing too serious, just easy like ABC. And I'll be drawing my flare. I'll be going in by 3 inches and marking that with a smooth curve, and a smooth curve. I'm marking that with a smooth trick with a dot, and from there I'll be marking in the remaining part of my measurements for my normal sleeve. My normal sleeve is about, my full sleeve is about 24 inches. So I divided 24 inches from like 16, and the main part is about 8. So I'm marking 8 inches in there. I'm marking 8 inches in there. And basically this is just all you need to know about the flare pattern. Just marking the 8 inches around, and we are done with the flare pattern. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you give me a thumbs up, and I hope you watch the second part of the video. It's very important. Thank you for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely day. Thank you.